Alright, today we're going to try to catch up to all the cards. And the first set that we're going to start with today is Nightfall. But before we get into that, I'd like to point out my sources here. Twitch.tv/CosmicPlays is the person who has been making these. They have been very, very helpful for everybody on Reddit. So, you know, give them a visit. Follow them. Enjoy their content. Alright, Nightfall. New keyword. Bonus if this is not the first card you play in a round. So you play one other card, then play this card, and bingo bango, something amazing happens. Like say, Vestigian Onlooker. 1/2/1. It's this card. Nightfall. Give me +2/+0 and Fearsome this round. So it's either just a 2/1, 1-cost unit, or a 4/1, 1-cost unit with Fearsome. Which is pretty good, and it seems overpowered, but you have to realize that you had to play something else before this card. Although that something else could have been a spell that you were planning on playing anyway, so it's probably still good. Now, if they don't have any blockers, this kind of hurts. That's still 1/5 of your life, if I'm counting that correctly, so it's pretty strong. Doom Beast. Free, this guy. Nightfall. Drain 2 from the enemy nexus. Kind of interesting. Now it has direct damage. We now have a direct damage card. I'm sure there's no way to abuse this in Shadow Isles. Although the stats seem awful. Like, this doesn't seem worth it at all without Nightfall, so that might be its limiting factor. It is a common, so that makes sense. DUSKRIDER. 5/2/5. Fearsome. No, okay. If you want to know how it feels to have Fearsome at turn 5? Ask Swain. Sometimes it just feels awful and your Fearsome doesn't matter, but in this case, this is probably the appropriate thing because his Nightfall ability, which does not have the symbol, so I don't know how to feel about that kind of consistency, grant me +1/+0 for each time we've activated Nightfall this game. Assuming you activated it every turn before this and it doesn't count itself, because that would feel weird, wouldn't it? He'd get +3, he'd be a 5/5 Fearsome, he'd be... Yeah, because you can't activate it on turn 1, presumably, unless you use a 0-cost unit, in which case, yes, you probably could. But if you did, he'd be a 6/5 Fearsome. That is not bad, but it's also not super astounding. A dedicated Nightfall deck might be able to do it, but then is the rest of your board tiny? Are all of their Nightfall effects already gone? So your Stygian Onlooker is just a 2/1 that's backing up a very big unit? Is that worth it? We'll see if we have an alternative 5 to play besides this DUSKRIDER and figure it out from there. Otherwise, it's kind of okay. Fearsome isn't that scary on turn 5 onwards. Now, if this were turn 4, I'd be a little frightened. But turn 5? No, thank you. Not that excited yet. Passage Unearned. Free, fast, but obliterate all units that were summoned but not played this round. I guess this is kind of horrifying for the harrowing. This feels like a card that just laughs at the harrowing really hard. And oh my god, Jesus. So, I mean, there are other things that summon units, but the fact that this single-handedly destroys Harrowing in a Shadow Isles mirror match is kind of gross. I don't like this design. I'm sure that's not why this was created. There's probably a bunch of other summon effects that Passage Unearned can absolutely ruin, but now when you're fighting Shadow Isles, you kind of don't want to play a summon effect that's 3 or more? Or even 4 or more, because now they get the mana advantage because you summoned a card. But, you know, they for less mana, they beat your play. And does that feel good? No, I don't like it. I don't like this kind of card. And it is narrow, so maybe I'm making too much big of a deal out of this card. Encroaching Shadows. 4 burst. Grant all allies in deck and hand +2/+2 ephemeral. Now this seems like it's gonna get busted real quick. It is 4, so that's kind of expensive. And if you want to be an aggro deck, which most ephemeral decks tend to want to be, is a little late, but it's all allies, and you can cast more than one of them. So if you have a way to consistently draw cards and slam units on the board and start smashing with them without caring whether they live or die, or they were already ephemeral to begin with, then maybe this is actually an interesting card. Now, this is a card I'm probably going to try to build around day 1 because it's interesting. It has all the promise of something amazing, but also not. Maybe it's a backup play for a finishing series of units that you bam, 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 then you smash them in the face with your ephemeral guys, or a backup to a harrowing deck because a harrowing deck does not care whether or not its units die because they're already ephemeral. Or maybe you have units that have a bunch of last breath effects. The more I talk about Encroaching Shadows, the more excited I am for it. I think this might be the card that I'm gonna look to try to abuse next season. Love this. Love Encroaching Shadows. Big fan. And then there's Nocturne. And this was not from Cosmic Plays. This, I believe, was an official thing from Riot. There, Nocturne. He looks pretty cool. There's a bunch of guys talking stories about him before they're quickly killed by Nocturne. So let's talk about the champion first. Here's Nocturne. He's 4/5 free. Nightfall. Grant an enemy vulnerable and give enemies -1/-0 this round. Wow, he combos with himself. That's fair, right? Right? Level up, you've attacked with 5 or more Nightfall allies. He just sets up a combo by himself. Like here, I have an effect that it feels like I made this card because that's how silly I am in terms of design. Like I just want this card to be really, really good. So no matter what happens, it'll work with me. And because they maybe that one unit that doesn't drop below 3 attack is, you know, there's only one of them, so you pull that to another guy and have it get killed, maybe. And when he levels up, becomes 6/4, still 4 cost, fearsome. Other allies have fearsome, and when you play a unit, give enemies -1/-0 this round. So what we have to look at here is how many Nightfall allies could you possibly have attacked with by turn 4 or 5 or even 6, depending on when you want to play Nocturne or because you want to activate his Nightfall ability at the same time as you play him. I don't know. Right now, everything combos with Nocturne, so he seems like the kind of guy you have to build up a deck around. Like he's not just someone you slot in, like maybe a Swain in a damage control deck, or Sejuani because she's just good without even leveling up, and her accidentally leveling up in some Freljord decks is a happy accident. He seems like a really strong champion to build around. He affects the entire board, makes all your units stronger or at least more effective, and controls the enemy board on the defense as well, keeping in mind that the -1/-0 does not have to be on your turn. You just play the unit and bam, a board wipe debuff. That's kind of wild. He turns into an unspeakable horror too fast. Drain 1 from anything. Wow. Shuffle a Nocturne into your deck. Nightfall, create a random Nightfall card in hand. Oh boy, create random cards? That seems useful. Actually, it kind of does. This kind of smells like a really weird Vial of Feast, in that it doesn't make a spider. Instead, it might give you a tech card accidentally if you have Nightfall. So that's probably going to feel awful at times. This is going to lead to some shenanigans. Shroud of Darkness, 1. Burst. The next time you summon an ally this round, give it +1/+0 and spell shield this round. I guess it's a really good combo for Nightfall cards because that's what you want in Nightfall. Cheap cards that directly help your game plan, and this does help it. You can do this and play a Nocturne who now has spell shield, granted somebody vulnerable, and gave all enemies -1/-0 this round because that seems like a baller play. Stalky Shadows, 2. Burst. Pick a follower from the top 4 cards of your deck, draw it, shuffle the rest into your deck, and create an ephemeral copy in hand, which means you have 2 copies of the guy you just picked up. You can't pick up champions. It specifically says follower, which is nice because you don't want a copy of a champion because that can get really disgusting really quickly. And this seems like another way to activate Nightfall because you played another card, maybe found a Nightfall card you can play this turn, and then bingo bongo, you got an ephemeral copy of that card as well. Risen's Mists for Burst, summon a Mistwraith. Oh, because we needed more Mistwraiths in the game. Yeah, alright. Daybreak. Bonus if this is the first card you play in a round. So that kind of combos with Nightfall. So you play a Daybreak card first and then a Nightfall card. So this is the first thing that came to mind. Daybreak. Nightfall. Champion of Tempo. I probably spent too much time making that. Anyway, let's take a look at the cards. This is a Targon thing. Solari Soldier, 1/2/2. First of all, amazing already. It's a 2/2/1. We love those. Ask Sinfria. Daybreak gave me +1/+1 this round. So unlike the pirate in Bilgewater, who needs a plunder effect, this guy is just free for 1 round. Early blocker, early beat stick. What's not to love? I'm pretty sure short of the pirate from Bilgewater, nothing can challenge us on turn 1. If they can't get around him through elusive or some other means, he's just gonna block or punch somebody in the face. Big fan. Solari Shield Bearer. 2, 3/2. Daybreak give me +0/+4 this round. So this is also a wall. It's almost also a guaranteed wall. Wow. That's pretty amazing. That's scary. 6. Sun Guardian. Overwhelm. Daybreak give me +4/+4 this round. It starts as a 4/3, which means it becomes an 8/7 Overwhelm. While I will say that this feels awful in the rounds following it, or if you have to play a tech card before the Sun Guardian, this also does mean that when you play the Sun Guardian, you're expecting to win that round because you drop it, it's 8/7 with Overwhelm, and it's here to finish the game. And that's kind of horrifying considering. I'm seeing one of the main problems of Daybreak is its inability to respond to an opposing play. Like, if you need Viscelari's Shield Bearer to be free 6 this round because of her Daybreak ability, that means you cannot react to anything else they do. So burst cards are probably not as amazing for our little Daybreakers because they stop being the first card you play in a round, and then they lose their ability. So this feels like a mid-range deck where it's like, no matter what you do, I'm gonna play this thing, and I cannot deviate until afterwards. So the first few plays they have, their first action each round becomes kind of predictable. The good news with the first two, Viscelari Soldier and Viscelari Shield Bearer, is that if they don't get their Daybreak ability, they're still good for their cost. They're still 2/2 and 3/2 respectively. But the Sun Guardian looks awful if you have to play something else before the Sun Guardian. He's just tiny. If you have to play him on defense, he feels awful. Like, you can block, sure, but then you get a 4-3 unit later. Raven Daylight Spear, 5/5/5, Daybreak Hate. Create a random Daybreak card in hand. Good for Arena. It's always day for us. It's always day for us means that whenever you play a card, it doesn't matter what order you play them in, you will get the Daybreak effect. Hooray! So now you get to have your cake and eat it too. So I imagine he's good. He's also big, 5/5/5. Big, beefy, has a relevant ability, creates something that combos with itself. A lot of these cards look like they're just good independent of what you're actually doing, which I don't know how to feel about, but they are powerful, so I guess we'll have fun with them. Ah, Leona with the tiniest screen. That's the one I found. Look at this one. I guess we can zoom in on this and see what happens. Well, alright. I guess that's what we're gonna get for Leona. No secret as to which deck I'm probably gonna build first because waifus. Anyway, Leona. 4 cost, 3/5, big and beefy, Daybreak, stun the strongest enemies. So play on defense on 4 is gonna be brutal. Offense on 4 is also gonna be brutal because you just stun a blocker and go to town. And she levels up when you've activated Daybreak 4 or more times. She doesn't even have to see it. If you've done it, she'll do it. So basically, play the game and Leona will activate. So she's hyper consistent because I'm pretty sure she levels herself up. So if in 1 to 4 you got your Daybreak going, Leona's gonna start smashing shit. So this says mid-range to me. And I'm a big dum-dum, so I'm cool with that. Leona, leveled up, becomes 4, 6, still cost 4. Daybreak, or when you activate another Daybreak, stun the strongest enemy. So this into Raven? This into Raven is a combo because she stuns the biggest unit on 4. Then Raven comes in, activates his Daybreak, stuns the other guy, and gives you a guaranteed Daybreak on the next round because it's always day for them. So their 4 onwards is pretty brutal. Leona looks like the kind of hero you need to kill the moment she hits the field. It's like she determines the way a game goes, and especially if they have some form of board control, or they have a way to sweep the board, or have been winning combat since the start of the game. Holy cow. And I think what's important here for Leona is that you cannot stop them from activating Daybreak. It is fully within the Targon player's power and control to decide, I am activating Daybreak now. It is not something you can control. It is not something you can combo against. This is the same for Nightfall, by the way, which means you cannot stop their champions from waking up. And it's not difficult. It's just play the game and you will activate this champion. This champion feels very easy modish. Anyway, she turns into a Morning Light, 5 slow, give all allies +2/+2 this round. Well, it doesn't say all, but I assume that's what what it meant. Shuffle a Leona into your deck. Daybreak, activate all allied Daybreak effects at once. Ah, scary. Especially if your board lives. It's not that scary. The +2/+2 and we activate all allied Daybreak effects. And a lot of the Daybreak effects we've seen so far are just buffs. Just straight up, we've got bigger stuff and a stun. That's scary. That's okay. You know what? That's pretty strong. This is a mid-range finisher card. It costs 5, which is a fair cost for what it can do. It activates a bunch of abilities and probably will keep your board alive. And it's 5. It's cheaper than for Demacia, which only gives them +3/+3. This one gives them +2/+2, activates their buffs. It seems really strong. This is one of the first cards where I'm excited about it, but I'm also concerned about it. Sunburst, slow, 6, deal 6 to a unit. Daybreak, instead silence it this round and deal 6 to it. I believe this is the only silence so far that can target a champion. Oh boy! I don't know if this is gonna see that much play. 6 is a lot. It doesn't directly contribute to your deck. It's expensive. You might want to play a bigger 6 cost unit at 6. But it is removal. Jury's out in Sunburst. You might need it in tech situations just to remove a big unit. I guess to kill a Leona, you don't want a Sunburst. Zenith Blade, free, slow, grant an ally +1/+2 and overwhelm. Daybreak, draw a Zenith Blade. Cool, you get to keep playing and making one unit bigger and bigger and bigger. It's also kind of a way to protect Leona. We need ways to kill Leona on 4. It feels like if you don't have an answer to Leona on 4, you're gonna have a bad time. At least Sejuani is 6. Holy crap. Guiding Touch, burst, heal an ally or your next is 2. Draw 1, it costs 2. And it's good, I guess. It's a heal that replaces itself. Oh, good. You can also protect your Leona with Guiding Touch. Ooh, ah. Oh, no. All right, let's move on. So we're back to... It's even more Targon. It's Nightfall. These are Diana cards now. 1/2/1. Lunari Duskbringer. When I'm summoned, create a Dusk Petal Dust in hand. It's 2/1, so it's probably playable. This is a Dusk Petal Dust 1. Burst. The next unit with Nightfall you play this round costs 1 less. So it's literally just a Nightfall activator. It's like, you have this card, so you may as well play this to make the next guy cheaper. Yeah, that's it. You don't gain mana from this. It's still mana equity. 2, Lunari Shadestalker. 2/2, Nightfall, grant me Elusive. The Elusive is permanent. And didn't we just deal with a 2-cost unit that had 5 stats total and was elusive? Didn't we just deal with that? I guess the fact that it was free to was a big deal with the Warrior Conspirator and it cost you a piece of the board. Now this doesn't cost you a piece of the board, but hey, it's 2 free. Ooh, I'm gonna get nerfed. Crescent Guardian, free, overwhelm, Nightfall, grant me +2/+0. So it's a free cost, free, that becomes 5 free. Didn't we just have this discussion with that 4-cost unit from Noxus? Didn't that just get nerfed? I know free's a lot easier to deal with, but it's still 5 free overwhelm. What do they want to happen? So we've got aggro Nightfall. Oh no! Here's Diana. I'm sure she's gonna be balanced. 2 cost, okay. 2/2, alright. Easily killable, quick attack. Not easily killable in combat. And the fact that it's not free actually bricks her a little bit. Nightfall, Challenger. Give me Challenger this round. Oh, okay, never mind. She can just find a fight for her to deal with that she can survive. Level up, you've activated Nightfall 4 times. Again, another champion that you can't really stop them from leveling up. This is gonna happen. And when she's leveled up, she's 2, free, quick attack. Nightfall, or when you activate another Nightfall, give me +2/+0 and Challenger this round. See, this seems fair and not that great. Because it does, if you don't kill her, yeah, she's a threat and she can pick apart your board, but she still needs to attack. Whereas Leona just like, I exist and therefore your life is so much worse than it has to be. She's a fair card. I like her, but I don't think she's gonna be like, yeah, we gotta put her in the game in our deck all the time. No, she's alright. Diana's Pale Cascade, 2, burst, give an ally +2/+1 this round, shuffle a Diana into your deck, Nightfall, draw 1. Okie dokie, that's neat. Basic buff for 2. Doesn't make the unit tougher, but I mean, when you have quick attack or elusive, making the unit tougher isn't necessarily one of your priorities. So this feels like the the fast deck, not the combo deck, but the way Nocturne looks like he's gonna be. Diana seems like just a straight up honest beatdown deck. She gets Hush. Ooh, free burst. Silence a unit this round. Okay, I stand corrected. Targon can silence champions. That's their jam. Silence a unit this round. Create a fleeting Hush in hand. Hooray! Now she does it twice. Woo! Amazing! I don't know how good this is gonna be. Silencing a champion isn't necessarily the biggest thing in the world. And I guess this is a good answer to Diana. And this is a good answer to Leona. Well, not the on-play effect, of course. She just exists and something bad happens to you. But at least she can't make you feel bad twice. Right? At least it feels good. Ooh. Cygnus the Moonstalker. 6 for free Nightfall. Give me an ally elusive this round. Now, I feel like this is an awful card because he's a 6-cost 4/2 but doesn't get any tougher. Like, I'm elusive, but I can also die to anything. Like, a Stiff Breeze has just murdered me. And keeping in mind that Cygnus has to be played second, which means you might have played 2 cards at this point. And he's also expensive. I don't like him. He's awful. It looks really bad. He's an epic. Like, yeah, you can give something elusive, but by that time, the other guy might have done something meaner to you. Like, played their own elusive card, or shot Cygnus with a unit that shoots things. I don't know. He just feels bad. He looks bad. He's bad. I'm gonna stick by that. That's the only hard thing I'm gonna stick by here. Like, Cygnus is bad. Looking at you makes me sad. Poro Cannon, what? what's a Piltover card doing here? Poro Cannon 0 burst to play discard 1, create 2 Daring Poros in hand. So they're elusive and they activate Nightfall. Because, you know, Poro. And of course, naturally, it has to be in the Diana pack of reveals because the Poro is mooning you. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next time with more of the reveals and my quote-unquote thoughts. I'm Patinator. I'll see you later.